How do you fight for and pursue love? How do you go after money? And how do you fight in general? Are you direct and fiery, or strategic, or a soldier for a bigger, greater cause? In astrology, our approaches to love and money are shown by Venus, and the ways that we fight are shown by Mars. And this week, beginning Sunday, the 1st of March, Venus moves into bold and feisty Aries, and Mars moves into peaceful and self-sacrificing Pisces. This is all about the fight for love and the love to fight. So we will talk about that in the video, but that's not all. This week we also have a lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, bringing sudden turnarounds, fated endings, and surprising events. Welcome to this video. My name is Fiona of Sun and Moon Calendar, and I make calendars like this one for Australia and for New Zealand, but the astrology I'm talking about is for the whole world. I'm based in New Zealand, but the aspects and transits that I cover affect us in the world. They affect the general mood or the vibe of life as we're going around about, and because of that they can affect our micro decisions and even our big decisions. They affect people's moods around you, and they can even contribute to just events happening that affect your life. Especially the bigger transits, and I do let you know as I go along about which ones those are. In this video, I'm going to talk about the transits of the week one by one, and then in tomorrow's video, I will do an in-depth look at the lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo, and that will include an all signs breakdown so that you can see more specifically what part of your life and what part of your astrological chart, which reflects your life, that will be happening in. All right, so let's get into it. You can jump ahead to any of the chapters, just look at the timestamps below, and I hope that this is helpful. Please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video. I'm going to start with an overview of the week. We are in the lunar month of Aquarius. This is a page from the New Zealand calendar. It's set out in lunar months. The Australian calendar is much the same, but it has a wedge-tailed eagle, an Australian great bird, to represent Aquarius. Okay, and you can see, I'll just show the grid part there. You can see in this month we have these two golden rings. This first one is for the solar eclipse that was in the sign of Aquarius in the middle of February, and we are coming up now to the full moon, the lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. Now these weeks that have the gold line under them, they are showing Mercury retrograde, which started last week. It's a time of needing to fix up mistakes, go back over things, making sure you're checking stuff, and communication errors and machines going wrong and glitching out are likely to happen. So expect that, and you can go back to my video from last week all about Mercury retrograde with a sign-by-sign breakdown in it. Okay, this is the week that we're looking at. It's the week from this Monday the 2nd of March to Sunday the 8th of March. If you're in the USA, Canada, UK, anywhere in the Northern Hemisphere, it's likely that these transits are coming in on the 1st of March, but I'll say that in the dates as we go through. Okay, and these are the main events that are happening this week. On Tuesday, on Monday the 2nd, or Tuesday the 3rd, Mars moves into Pisces. The fighting for love there. We'll talk about that as we go through. And on the same day, we have the lunar eclipse in the sign of Pisces. On Wednesday the 4th or Thursday the 5th, Venus is sextile to Uranus, allowing some spontaneity and some freshness in matters to do with relationships and finances. The Sun is trine Jupiter on Thursday or Friday. That is very nice. And Venus moves into feisty Aries, as I mentioned in the introduction. And we have Mercury cazimi, that is the center point of the Mercury retrograde. That is at the end of the week. And on the same day, Venus is conjunct Neptune, which can bring some lovely vibes. So let's get into that. This week's transits, one by one. Okay, This is a reminder about Mercury retrograde. We are in Mercury retrograde. Check your emails, check your messages before you send them. Check and confirm any travel plans before you head off, and expect to go backwards in order to go forwards. Mistakes from the past are likely to show up, especially mistakes from the last 2 or 3 weeks, but even mistakes from the more distant past over the last few months or so. All right, just expect that we will be learning and there will be inconveniences and things will not run according to plan during this 3 weeks or so. So we are under that. We are under that Mercury spell. All right, and then Mars moves into Pisces on Monday the 2nd of March or Tuesday the 3rd of March. This is what I said in the intro. This is about the fight for love. All right, Mars in Pisces. Mars is a fighter and a warrior. Mars likes to take action and be very direct, and Mars goes for what it wants and it doesn't think about it too much. It just operates from gut instinct. It talks before it thinks. It does things before it thinks. It can be impulsive and fiery. There's this great spark of very honest, bold, blunt energy, sometimes too blunt, but you get honesty with Mars. Mars in Pisces, however, is not likely to fight in such a direct way. Mars in Pisces might be fighting in a way that's a little bit more roundabout and might have a tendency to want to escape. With that tendency to escape, it's not so much that Mars is lacking courage in any way. It's more like Mars in Pisces can see a bigger picture. Pisces has a very big picture aspect to it. It's ruled by Jupiter, which is an incredibly huge planet, far bigger. I think it's bigger than, maybe twice as big as all the other planets put together, something like that. Don't quote me on that one, but it's unreasonably big. Pisces is very big picture, and sometimes Mars won't want to take on a battle because it can actually see the bigger picture. All right. Now I came across a lovely blog from somebody who has Mars in Pisces, and her name was Alice Sparkly Cat. Alice Sparkly Cat. So I'll link that in the description. And she was saying how she used some examples, like, say, Pisces, Mars and Pisces might see that some people who live together, they're fighting over who does the dishes, or they're fighting over who does the housework. And Mars and Pisces might not join in that fight because Mars and Pisces can see nobody's really at fault. Just everybody's so under the pump because they're working too hard. The system is the problem. The system that is making people have to work so hard and not have enough time to look after the household. Mars will see this bigger picture of the overall picture and how things are set up that makes things hard for people, so that it might not want to take sides in the fight. It might not want to fight. It might want to fight against the system instead. I don't know if that's exactly what Alice Sparkly Cat meant totally, but that's what I took from it. And like I said, she had a really good description. So I'll link it in the description below. All right. There's a determination to do Piscean things with Mars and Pisces, and Piscean things are connection to spirit, charitable work, showing mercy and compassion, especially to those who are less fortunate, and that is everyone in some way. Okay, everyone has something where it's not so easy. Some part of their life is not as easy as it is for others. Okay, and also Pisces is about creativity, storytelling, music, dance, art, the kind of creativity where you are bringing down your downloads from spirit. You're totally in your right brain. You've got those alpha brain waves flowing. You're in the flow of the magic. And then Mars will help you during this time until the 10th of April to feel determined to work on some of those Piscean things in whatever part of your chart Pisces falls in. So that is, and I've said about that, the fight for love, because Pisces is about unconditional love, unconditional acceptance, where we are loving all of humanity and accepting us for all our weaknesses, all our problems, all our things that we don't do perfectly. Pisces accepts that, and while Mars is there, Mars will be fighting to save us all in some ways. Okay, so that's the fight for love, the fight for unconditional love. And then we have the lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo. That will be visible right across the Pacific, in the western parts of North America, in the eastern parts of Asia, in Aotearoa, New Zealand, in the eastern parts of Australia. So more about that in tomorrow's video, but whatever part of your life and the sky Virgo falls in for you, that is likely to come up with some surprising events, turnarounds that are likely to involve endings. This is a lunar eclipse. Lunar eclipses can bring endings, and it's a south node eclipse, even more likely to bring endings that are sudden and surprising, but are ultimately helping you forward on your soul's journey. Okay? And now looking at the next one. On Wednesday the 4th of March or Thursday the 5th of March, depending on where you are in the world, we'll have Venus sextile to Uranus, okay? So Venus sextile, Venus is about love and money, and Uranus is about awakening, freshness, authenticity, authentic truth, very truthful, and also new technology, new ways of doing things, being quirky, being unconventional. So this could encourage us to be a little more spontaneous in love, a little more unconventional in the ways that we look after money or pursue money or income streams. It's only a smaller one, this. It's just for a couple of days. It could bring a restless energy, but a sextile is usually an easy and supportive aspect. So it might mean that you and your partner get home from work, you're tired, you want to collapse for a little while, but instead you decide you are going to jump in the car or jump on your bikes and head off somewhere completely different that you don't normally do on a weeknight. It is a weeknight, yes. And just do something different for the evening, all right? Or you look at your money and you're looking at your finances and you're thinking, I could do this differently. Or you're looking at some of your possessions and you think, I want to get rid of this old stuff, I want to donate it, send it somewhere else, and I want something new and a little bit avant-garde, out of the box, and fresh, okay? Could also be bringing in new technologies into relationships or money matters. But like I said, it's a smaller transit, this one. It's just for a couple of days we'll have that energy in the air. And then going on to this lovely one, this charismatic aspect of the Sun trine to Jupiter, an aspect of confidence and optimism. The Sun is how we shine in the world, how we express ourselves, our true nature, our soul essence, unencumbered by inhibitions. And Jupiter will be expanding that. It's wonderful. So again, this only lasts for 1 or 2 days, but while it's there, it is a time to feel more boldly optimistic, and it is possible that opportunities could come along because Jupiter does bring opportunities and luck and expanding on things. Jupiter is still retrograde for another week or so, so it might not be at its full, bringing out its full opportunity, but nevertheless, I think there's a chance to feel optimistic and more confident with this, and you might be feeling a little more charismatic and bright and shiny during this transit. And then we have Venus moving into Aries, and this is what I meant about the love to fight. All right, Venus is about love, and Aries loves a fight, ruled by Mars. Okay, Aries loves a fight. So there'll be something in here about being more ready in relationships to fight for something, to fight for love, like I said, all right, or to love fighting. And maybe that little competitiveness could be part of the flirtation with your partner. It could be banter between friends, and the jokes between the friends might get a little bit more pushy and edgy. That's okay. That might just feel good while this is on. So this is until the end of March. All right. Venus in Aries is very independent-minded in love, is more ready to speak up in relationship for what it wants. There's a selfishness, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean like there's this more willingness to see what the self needs, what the individual needs. Aries is very independent and individualistic, and Venus is normally all about the other. So somehow these are coming together. It might be that Venus wants to dash off on a cool, bold, new adventure with their partner, all right? Or it might be some new, bold way of looking at money or comforts or the pleasures in life. There could be a lot more direct speech and perhaps more physical desire and expressions of physical desire. Okay, and then we are going on to Mercury cazimi. Okay, this is the halfway point of the Mercury retrograde, and it has moved backwards now. It's in retrograde, it's moved backwards, got closer and closer to the sun, and this is the point where Mercury is exactly between the Earth and the sun. It's between there, all right? And at this point, perhaps we will have seen all the mistakes that are likely to come out with Mercury retrograde. Usually by this point, we've seen what they are, and we're spending the other parts of the retrograde trying to just disentangle and figure them out. And I recommend that at the exact time of this cazimi that you ask the universe a question. I find that when I do ask the universe a question in quite an intentional, I get myself in a grounded state and I really think with clarity, like get a very clear, defined question and ask that question, an answer will come along, all right? Either from just pop into my mind or from talking to somebody or just sort of grow within me. So to help you with that, I have put the exact times of the Mercury cazimi point. Ideally, you do it at that time, but some people say you can do it a few hours before or after. I think it's better to try and do it at that time. However, if you are in LA or Vancouver, that is 3 in the morning. So maybe if you're on night shift, you could do that. New York, 6 o'clock in the morning, that might be all right. London, that's fine. That could be your morning tea break, 11:01 a.m. Sydney, it's at 10 p.m. And I can just see for New Zealand, that is 1 minute past midnight. I don't think I'm going to get up for that. I think I'm just going to try out asking the question, getting very clear before I go to sleep, ask the universe and then close my eyes, and hopefully that will work. Okay, and then we've got another lovely one this week. Again, it's just for a day or two, and that is Venus conjunct Neptune. Neptune just newly and epically having moved into Aries, for where it will be for the next 14 years. And this is the second time we've had Venus conjunct Neptune. There was one last year, I think it was in May. But really this is a new thing. Like, we won't have, Neptune's only going to be in Aries once in our lives because it takes 165 years to go around. So we've got now 14 years of Venus meeting up with Neptune in the sign of Aries, that feisty and fiery, fighty sign, that bold and energetic sign. All right, so with Neptune, we're bringing in dreams and idealism, charity, compassion, unconditional love, mysticism. And with Venus, we're bringing what I've talked about: relationships, money, love, sweet connection, comforts and pleasures. All right, and this is another part of, with the Aries thing there, it's somewhere between the fight to love and the love to fight. all right, because Aries is the fighting, and Neptune and Venus, they're both about love. Venus is usually about one-to-one love or earthly love, sensual pleasures, loving earthly things and earthly delights, and loving another. Neptune is about that unconditional, all-encompassing love. All right, so I think this could be a good opportunity if we're seeing something where we need to fight for love and stand up for love and stand up for a charitable cause. This could be a good opportunity. And having said that, it will only last for a day or two, but we will be getting a return to this transit once a year for the next 14 years. And just this one is a little bit out of the week, but I thought I'd mention it because Saturn has just passed that big and important conjunction with Neptune. So it's just after Neptune, and so Venus will come into conjunction with Saturn one day later. So that's Sunday the 8th of March if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, Monday the 9th of March if you're in the Southern Hemisphere, Australia and New Zealand. So Venus conjunct Saturn, all right? So this is a lot more sobering. This is more serious. This is thinking about good structures for love and money and the ways that we fight and pursue our desires and our needs sensibly, responsibly, steadily, following the rules. Okay, so I'll talk about this one again next week because it is part of next week's transits. So that's it for this week's transits and aspects. And then going on to, here was a summary of the week. All right, so the week beginning 2nd of March, fight for love and love to fight. And this is with that Mars and Pisces standing up for the underdog, championing unconditional love and compassion and empathy. And the love to fight, that is Venus and Aries, wanting to have maybe a little bit more combative fun with a partner and to be bold and adventurous in love. All right. Generous surprises. So that is to do with the eclipse. The eclipse in the sign of Virgo, it will bring surprises. And there is a chance, endings can be really difficult, but there is Jupiter, it happens to be in sextile with the lunar eclipse with the moon, so it's trine to the sun, and so there could be some luck or generosity, optimism with that eclipse. And then fix your mistakes. Remember that we are still in Mercury retrograde, and so mistakes are still showing up, and we just need to patiently work through them. And going on to look at the upcoming events on the 10th or 11th of March, Jupiter will station direct. It has been going backwards in the sky for the last few months. I think it was from December or late November maybe. And so once Jupiter stations direct, we are likely to see more opportunity and more luck coming our way. It's been all internal in the last little while. We've been reviewing the ways internally that we want to expand in the world and the ways that we seek truth and meaning in the world and optimism and luck in the world. All right, so I'll talk more about that next week. And then on the 18th or 19th of March, the new moon in Pisces. And then on the 20th or 21st of March, depending on where you are in the world, I have said autumn equinox in New Zealand and Australia. It is the autumn equinox, and in South Africa and South America. But in the Northern Hemisphere, it is the spring equinox, and you guys have the expansion, the sun coming your way, and you are heading to warmer weather and longer evenings. So I should have just said equinox. And then on that very same day, Mercury turns direct. You can breathe a sigh of relief because most of the mistakes will have been fixed up by then. So there we go, everyone. That is my video, the fight for love with Mars and Pisces, and the love to fight with Venus and Aries, and remembering about the bigger picture stuff and unconditional love and compassion with that Neptune connection and that Pisces connection. It's a week with some lucky transits there, but also with the challenge of the lunar eclipse and surprising endings. And there was another, Mercury retrograde as well. That's never very easy, but there's some easier transits in there. So all the best for the week, and please look out for my video tomorrow about the lunar eclipse in the sign of Virgo with the all signs breakdown. And please like, comment, or subscribe if you like this video, and go well, everyone, wherever you are in the world.